Most of us see Social Security as just a monthly check from the government. But if you're an investor, you've really got to reframe that thinking. You need to see it for what it truly is, a core retirement asset. It's basically a unique, government-backed, inflation-proof annuity. And the most important part, it's an asset with specific levers you can actually pull to dramatically increase its value.
And this chart right here, wow, it just lays out the stakes perfectly. The decision of when you claim your benefits isn't just some minor tweak, it's a monumental one. I mean, just look at the difference in cash flow between claiming at age 62 versus waiting until age 70. It fundamentally changes the size of this asset for the rest of your life. We're talking about a potential difference of over $1,000 a month.
And that brings us to the total potential upside. Get this. By simply waiting from the earliest possible age, 62, to the latest, 70, a retiree can lock in a monthly benefit that is a staggering 77% larger. And that's a permanent increase, for life, before we even start talking about cost of living adjustments. So where does all that power come from?
Well, to understand how to maximize this asset, we've got to pop the hood and take a look at the engine room. It all comes down to a number called your primary insurance amount, or PIA. This is the absolute core of your benefit, and understanding how it's calculated is the very first step to getting it under your control.
Okay, so the process might look a little complicated, but it really just boils down to these 3 steps. First, the Social Security Administration grabs your 35 highest earning years and adjusts them for historical wage growth. Then, they average all that out to create a monthly figure called your AIME. That's for average index monthly earnings. And finally, that AIME gets plugged into a special formula to calculate your primary insurance amount, the PIA.
So why this special formula with these weird bend points? Well, it's completely by design. The formula is intentionally weighted to replace a larger chunk of pre-retirement income for folks who are lower earners. It's a core feature that shows its dual purpose. It's not just a retirement plan, it's also a social safety net. This progressivity is a key feature of the asset itself.
All right, so once you've got your head around your base benefit, we can talk about the single most powerful lever that you control, delayed retirement credits, or DRCs. If your base benefit is the engine, think of DRCs as the turbocharger you can choose to activate. And this quote just frames it perfectly from an investor's point of view. Forget market volatility, forget risk. DRCs are not some market-based return. They are a guaranteed contractual increase to your benefit, backed by the U.S. government. In a world full of uncertainty, that kind of guarantee is exceptionally rare and incredibly valuable. So let's put some hard numbers on that return. For every single year you delay claiming past your full retirement age, your future benefit grows by a guaranteed 8%. I mean, seriously, try to find that kind of guaranteed, risk-free return in today's bond market. You just can't. It's a core mechanic of the system. Now, here's a key detail, though. The total boost you can get from delaying isn't the same for everyone. It's tied directly to your full retirement age, which, as you can see here, is set by your birth year. For anyone born in 1960 or later, your FRA is 67. That gives you 3 years to delay until age 70, which allows for a maximum 24% boost on top of your full benefit. So, this all naturally brings up the question that any investor would ask, with an 8% annual return on the table, when does delaying actually pay off? This is the break-even analysis. It's all about figuring out the exact point where the higher future payments make up for all those payments you skipped by waiting.
So, let's just ask it straight up. At what age do you cross that line, the line where waiting becomes the more profitable decision, in terms of total dollars you've received?
All right, here are the numbers. If you delay all the way from 62 to 70, that break-even point is typically right around age 80. If you live past that age, you come out ahead. And every single month you live beyond that point, the decision to delay just looks better and better. And honestly, considering that most people underestimate how long they'll live, these ages are well within a normal planning horizon.
And this is a huge but. A simple break-even analysis is a dangerously incomplete picture. It's a useful starting point, for sure, but it is not the final answer. It completely ignores a whole host of other critical financial variables that can totally change the optimal strategy for you and your family.
So let's start layering in that real-world complexity. Because once you claim, 2 major factors can really complicate the picture and potentially reduce your net benefit: the earnings test and the way benefits are taxed. Think of these as the hidden hurdles you absolutely need to plan for.
First up, let's bust a huge myth about the earnings test. If you claim before your full retirement age and you keep working, yeah, your benefits can be temporarily withheld.
But the key here is that this test only applies to earned income. We're talking wages from a job or self-employment. Your investment income, your pension, your IRA withdrawals, they're all completely ignored.
And here's another really critical detail that a lot of people miss. This isn't a permanent penalty. Any benefits that are withheld are not just gone forever. Nope. Once you hit your full retirement age, the Social Security Administration actually recalculates your benefit and pays you back over time. It's really more of a forced delay than a true loss.
Okay, let's pivot to taxes. Whether or not your Social Security benefits get taxed depends on a special little calculation called provisional income. It's this unique IRS formula, and it basically works like this. You take your adjusted gross income, you add any non-taxable interest you have, and then you add in half of your Social Security benefits for that year. And depending on where that provisional income number lands, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can suddenly become taxable. But here is the absolute kicker. These income thresholds, $32,000 and $44,000 for joint filers, are not indexed for inflation. They've been the same for decades, which means every single year, more and more retirees get pushed into these tax brackets. So this all brings us to what might be the most strategic way to think about this, especially if you're married. The decision of when to claim isn't just about you. It's about protecting your partner. It's a long-game strategy that can impact 2 lifetimes. Here's the crucial point. When one spouse passes away, the survivor gets to keep the larger of the 2 Social Security checks. This means that by having the higher-earning spouse delay their claim, you are directly maximizing the potential income for the surviving spouse, often for many, many years. And this just shows you the impact so clearly. By delaying from age 67 to 70, a higher-earning spouse can boost their partner's potential survivor benefit by a full 24%. Honestly, this single decision can be one of the most effective forms of life insurance a couple can possibly implement. Now, looking ahead, it's really important to remember that while the core mechanics we've talked about are pretty stable, the system itself is not set in stone. The benefit formula and its parameters can be changed by Congress. Policy proposals to tweak bend points or other factors are always being discussed, and that adds a layer of political risk to any long-term planning.
Okay, after digging into all of this, the PIA, the DRCs, taxes, survivor benefits, I know, it can feel like a lot. So let's try to distill this entire complex topic down into a single, powerful question that can really guide your strategy.
The ultimate question you have to ask yourself is this: are you optimizing for maximum lifetime cash flow, or are you optimizing for financial longevity and survivor protection? This question forces you to see Social Security for what it truly is, a powerful risk management tool. It's about deciding if your main goal is to get the most dollars, assuming an average lifespan, or to build the strongest possible safety net against outliving your money or leaving a spouse unprotected. This is not financial advice.